Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima and I'm here checking out Operation Babel, New Tokyo Legacy. This is indeed a sequel to Operation Abyss, New Tokyo Legacy, which was made by Experience, and this is also made by Experience, and who knows, maybe we'll actually have a decent dungeon crawler from Experience this time around. Not bloody likely, but let's just load the game up anyway. Notably, the game's got two difficulty modes. One is just like a really simple easy mode, and classic mode is the actual like dungeon crawler style mode. So I'm just gonna load up. We're gonna spend a little bit fucking around in the menus because one, I haven't unlocked the next dungeons yet because I saved at a point where there'd be a cutscene for us to watch. And two, there's actually a fair amount to discuss when it comes to the game's style of dungeon crawling and progression and stuff like that. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go and listen to some of these cutscenes. Now, it's worth noting that this game, well, the predecessor to this game, Operation Abyss, had an English dub, but nothing else. And now Operation Babel has a Japanese dub, or a sub, I guess you'd call it, and nothing else, which is a little strange, but I'll just hit X and I'll let this cutscene play out, and I hope to God that it's got some of the voice acting in it. Nope, I guess not. You can... I'm just gonna skip through all this because this is kind of story spoilers, but I mean, I'm 5 hours into a dungeon crawler. It's not really going to be a spoiler or anything, but you heard very small samples of the voice acting there, and it sounds about right. It actually took me a little while to remember if Operation Abyss had an English dub. But then I remembered, this is Kaito, and I'm like, yeah, it had an English dub, right? So, one thing I want to talk about the English writing is that it looks really fucking weird. Now, I know this sounds like a little bit of a nitpick, but just have a look at, say, Kaito. The A is just a little bit risen above the I, and then the toe is a little bit risen above the K and the I. And the main text has this problem as well, where some letters are just lifted up and away. Not to mention that the game's got a lot of localization issues because there's a bunch of shit. There's punctuation marks that are missing, there's words that have been spelt wrong. And there's one major one that I noticed a while back. Well, not a while back, like an hour ago, but to me that's a while. I have two items here, Noriko's badge and the Illith device. Now, Noriko's badge weakens enemies by 3 levels, so you can use it and it makes the game a little bit easier for you. The Illith device raises enemies by 3 levels, and the game does tell you this. It gives you a cutscene that says, here, take this will make enemies stronger, it's good for training with. Look at what it says on the screen. Weakens enemies 3 levels. If you forget that's what that does, you're kind of screwed. So, yeah, the localization is riddled with errors, the text is weird, and the fact that there's no English dub just makes this feel a lot lazier than your typical NIS affair. Then again, people have been calling out NIS for a while for doing shifty things with their localizations, but this one really does stick out like a sore thumb. But anyway, we went through a cutscene to unlock some missions. I'm also going to unlock the Muramasa Hall, and I'm just going to skip through the dialogue here. So, the idea is that the world is this weird combination of technology and reality, and there's some weird-ass plot going on. This follows on directly from Operation Abyss, apparently, but you kind of just get dropped into it. You spend an hour just wondering what the fuck is going on, because I admit I didn't play very much. I didn't play anything from Operation Abyss after I did my video on it, so I am kind of lost because they dump a lot of techno-babble on you and it feels like a bad episode of Star Trek. It's kind of weird like that, but yeah, it's not particularly the most cohesive thing I've ever read in my life, I'll put it that way. And it just, I find myself being relatively lost and uninterested in a little bit. So, we've unlocked a bunch of missions and I've got most of them. That'll work for what we need to do. We also have some variants that we can eliminate. Basically, these are the main quests, these are the side quests, and you do different things in them. You go and look for people, you go and take out these variants, which are basically just stronger monsters, and you follow these missions here in order to do the story. And the story itself is, well, the story content itself is actually quite difficult, but nothing you can't handle if you go in with the right gear. So we might as well start talking about the setup in this game. It's a dungeon crawler game by experience, and it does follow some of the old experience tropes. You've got a bunch of different classes. You've got your basic stats, your items that you can equip, your defense, your evasion chances, and you've got all that. You got the 3 in the front and the 3 in the back. It's all the pretty basic stuff that experience is known for. There's a couple of things. I'm not going to remember what's new compared to Operation Abyss on this one, and I do apologize for that, but I will walk you through everything I can anyway. So you can enlist people here, but we're not going to take the time to go through that, but you can more or less randomize all your avatars, which is what I've done. Well, not what I've done here, more or less. I've got 4 pre-built characters and 2 randomly generated ones. So I just did that because I wanted to check out a few of the extra classes, but the game does give you a party of 6, and it is a pretty good party of 6 to start off with, so you're more than welcome to do that. So, right. So, the game's magic works the same way as it did in the previous game. It's the old Dungeons & Dragons style, where you have a limited amount of uses of each tier, and you have to come back to base to charge it up. You have blood codes, which are your jobs, and your blood codes will unlock different abilities as you move down in levels. And it's also worth noting that you can actually dual class in this game. I don't remember if you can dual class in Operation Abyss, but in Operation Babel, you can. So this guy here, Rio, he is both the psychic class and the wizard class at the same time. And the main character over here, he is both the knight class and the samurai class, I think it is. I cannot remember to save my life. The game has weird terms for everything in this game. There is a guidebook. If you hit start, you can look up the guidebook and look at all the stuff that you need to know. It's just a little bit annoying trying to remember all of the terms that you need to know. So the game does have a bunch of other things. You can go to the development lab, which lets you build items. So you can craft things like junk weapons here. So if you have the materials, you can craft the weapons. So if I wanted to craft that, I'd need 8 MT metal. Unfortunately, I don't appear to have enough metal for anything, but oh, I do have enough for this. Unfortunately, the game does have a level limit for items. So this dagger here, it's a level 14 dagger, so I'd have to have someone at level 14, and I don't have someone at level 14. You find junk weapons, and you use these junk weapons to build the actual weapons in the dungeons. You also have the same with armor. So yeah, I have plenty of this. Unfortunately, there's no way to actually sort this screen right here, so I can't go to like the level that my guys actually support, which kind of sucks. You can also craft and build, well, pretty much anything really that you feel like, which is, it's kind of neat. Nothing too out of the ordinary. You can strip items for their materials. You can boost them with other materials to make them stronger. So you can only do it up to a certain point. The game's kind of confused about how it handles this. I think it's, you can only, yeah, okay, I remember now. You can boost it up to your item level. So this Mega Axe is level 6, and I've put it up to +6, and it's at its maximum improvability. And this one here, the Edge Boomerang, whatever it is, I can still upgrade this one because it's only a +3. That's how you do that. You can also add affixes, and the affixes are actually kind of confusing. I'm not entirely sure what the deal is with them, but basically they add elemental damage, and you can add variant affixes, which will do damage to certain types of variants, and status affixes, which I believe is like poison and stuff like that. It's a little weird, yeah. You can also see that certain blood codes can only use certain things. You've also got traits, good, neutral, and evil. Those are just something you pick during character creation. As far as I can tell, there's no way to actually change that. And you can also see all some pretty obvious stuff like short range, long range, and no range for weapons that you can attack from the back, attack from the front. It's all pretty simple stuff. You can buy and sell items here. You can uncurse items here. You can appraise items that you brought back from the dungeon here. You can also do it out in the field, but if you fail, you might lose the weapon on the person who's doing it, which actually kind of got me screwed because I took my mage into battle without a weapon to cast any magic with, so that kind of went well for me. You can go to the medical lab, and this is how not only you gain your stats back with your people, but it's also how you level them up. You bring them back here, you charge them, or you level them up or whatever, and that's how you add your stats on. You get 1 stat point every time you level up. You treat stuff like being dead here, and there's a collection quest apparently, and experience points, and just adding experience points via money, and just it's all pretty basic stuff. And you can even do counseling. I don't know what the point of that is. I tried it once, it didn't do anything that seemed obvious. So that's pretty much the entire game in a nutshell. It's a really, well, not the entire game in a nutshell, but that's the whole thing. It's just a very, very simple dungeon RPG by most standards. There is a few other things to it, and we can get to that. You've got your world map here, which will let you go to all the different dungeons. So there's the X subway line. That's the first dungeon you have to do. It's literally just a straight line. There's the Aoi Shrine, but we'll do that one later if the Muramasa Hall proves to be a bit difficult. Speaking of which, just to be safe, I'm going to equip the item that weakens everyone by every enemy by 3 levels, just to be safe. I don't want to go dying in the middle of this, because if you die in the middle of a dungeon, it's game over. You have to reload from your last save, and you can only save from the headquarters, which is right there. So we will head to the Muramasa Hall, and we will just wander around a bit. I haven't actually been in here yet, but we will go and have a look around and hope we get this right. So yeah, everything's level 10, so we should be able to more or less wipe the floor with these guys. And we also don't get to use the map in this one. Remember, the open map can be used, but yeah, we don't get our support map in the top middle, but we do get our full-size map, which is okay, because our full-size map is actually very useful. So, it's an experienced dungeon crawler. What do you expect? You wander around, you look for hidden stuff. Thankfully, he found a hidden door for me, and I got turned around? No, I got teleported. Alright, so we'll just wander along here. Rio's found something hidden again. We found another door, we go through, and we run into some creatures, which are level 16 for some fucking reason. Okay, that's not that big of a deal, but we will, I'm a little bit worried anyway, but we'll give it a shot anyway. So, here's your battles. Battles are very simple to understand. You add guard to your, you can guard to increase your defense. You can use skills, launch a ranged attack, a desperate attack with a high rate hit to one enemy. You can use spells, which all do different things. You can change your, you can use items, you can change your equipment, or you can just attack. I'm going to be attacking with most of my guys. Rio has a thing that lets him attack long range, so I can do that just fine. And you can select all your attacks, and when you press perform action, it'll carry out the action on all of the enemies in here. And you can hit triangle just to repeat it again. If you hit triangle twice, you will... Oh, great, he's been poisoned. Alright, I'm going to use an item. I think I've got an item that'll let me deal with this. Tools are your consumables, anti-poison. There we go. And I will just use a spell... No, hang on. Spell. Multi-care. That'll do. So yeah, battles are very simple. There is a whole thing going on with the amount of risk that you're using right now. Where the fuck am I? Right, that's going to be a problem. So there is a thing... Ooh, yep. You can just walk away. I'm not going to fight you. You'll be a waste of my effort. So... Good on you, Madoka. You can, of course, run into little icons like this, and, yep, if they happen to be friendly, they'll just walk away. That's quite nice and all that. Where the hell am I? This is going to be fun, isn't it? Alright, so, there is a whole danger thing going on. You can see up in the top left my, my level of... I'm not entirely sure what the game does to explain, what the game says to explain it. But yeah, basically, it's just a level that determines how strong the enemies in the dungeon are, and how... Right, do I still have that open map, or I should probably use that? It still determines... Yeah, open map. Oh, there we go. Oh, I've got to use it on... I've got to use it on someone? What? Oh, there it is. Okay, we know where we are now. So, as I was saying, just you get more on that danger meter up in the top left by fighting battles and not running away from them, and you decrease it by running away and doing stuff like that, right? Great, I have to turn around, don't I? Secret door. There we go. The meter has to be relatively high in order to come across things like the variants. For example, they'll be running around in certain dungeons, and you'll have to keep that meter as high as possible in order to find them and fight them. Which makes sense. I guess I have to come through this way and then approach that from the other side in order to continue on from here. Nope, do I have to approach from this side? Nope. Okay, I might be stuck. That might be a problem. Okay. Am I seriously stuck in here? That's interesting. I wonder what I'm supposed to do about this. Okay, another battle. Here's the problem with the battles in this game, though. They're really freaking boring. There's a ridiculous amount of... Hang on, I'm going to use my escape gate, and I'll try and go back from the very beginning. One of my characters actually has this spell, so I'll just do that. So as I was saying, the battles in this game are actually really boring. It's almost funny just how dull it gets after a while, wandering around and trying to do all of the battles in an area. It just gets really slow after a while, just because of the general... What's the word I'm looking for? Just because of the general, slowness of the battles. It just feels a bit... Right, this door's controlled by some device. Let's head on up here. Right, I've got a choice. That teleporter or this teleporter. We'll do this teleporter. And it appears to just be knocking me back a few paces. Okay, we'll go into this one instead. This one leads me here. It throws me back a few paces, so I have to come through here. Of course I counted something. You know, I'm going to fight this one just so you don't have to spend too long looking at that. It's just, the battles in this game are really boring just because with the amount of strategic things that you have to do, more or less. Like, just with the amount of strategies that you can have in this game, once you find a comfortable one, you're not really going to want to change it. I found a pretty comfortable thing going on right here. I've got my mage in the background who can throw out all his spells if he can. I've got a healer that I can work with. I've got just a ranged attack going on in the background, and not much else is going on for me. And I find it relatively unnecessary to change my playstyle or anything like that. Like, the game's introduced a couple of weird monsters and things that are like... The game's introduced a few of these, and it's just like... how do I put this? You just end up hitting triangle and just repeating everything constantly, except when that bloody happens. Screw it, I'll just use a unity attack. You get unity, there we go. That hurt him a bit, and I'll just fast action the rest. There we go. Sucks that everyone fell asleep, but oh well. A lot of the battles, once you've got a good strategy down, really just do feel like pressing triangle over and over again. And unfortunately, that's kind of a pain in the ass to do, just because if you want to do something different with just one character, you have to go through and do the entire lineup of attacks again, which kind of sucks, because it just ends up getting really repetitive after a while, doing the same battles, doing the same strategies and techniques. I'm going to walk away from this one. Doing the same strategies and techniques only to find yourself doing the same thing over and over again. And I do have a couple of other problems with this, like the game's loot system. You've seen it a couple of times already, and it's a lot like, what's it called? Brain with me here. Stranger of Sword City. It's a lot like Stranger of Sword City. You have the chip, which is basically a treasure chest. Your teammates will like 99% of the time, tell you exactly what is inside this thing and how to remove the trap from it. So there's basically no risk or strategy involved whatsoever. And you just end up hitting the X button to get all the way through it. It's kind of frustrating just how repetitive it all gets. Right, so I'm guessing I need to find a hidden wall or something. Hang on, I might have a spell that can help me with this. Well, that didn't help me find what I was looking for. So I know there's 3 hallways there. I'll just search along all of these. See if I can find anything. Yep, there it is. I knew there was something there. Alright, so... as I was saying, it's just the treasure chests feel like there's absolutely no strategy to them at all, which is the most disappointing thing about them. Because I still remember Demon Gaze and how it did its loot, where you'd get these gems and you could use them to basically roll the dice on any piece of loot that you would want. And it was great, because it made me feel like I was in control of what I was going to get. In this game, it really is just almost pointlessly random. You just end up going through and looking through all these chests and getting all these items that you need to identify at some point or another, and you just end up repeating the same process over and over again, and it just gets really dull really fast. Being really dull is something that this game is very good at. It's kind of annoying, actually. It's actually just disappointing, just because I know that... Right, I'm looping back towards between those two. I'll leave for now and have a look around the rest of the place. Oh, hey! Okay, I've opened the way out, so I get to, come back out here. But yeah. It's a... Oh. Oh, great, the exit was right there and I walked right into the bloody, walked right into a bloody teleporter, because of course I did. Used teleportal. The portal is not connected. Okay, I guess I have to go do something else. Alright. Just... It really does feel really bare bones. Like, that's the... I think that's what I'm getting at when I'm talking about this game being a disappointment and relatively average and just... It's not particularly great. Like... It's not that bad. I mean, outside of the localization being a pile of garbage from time to time, it really isn't that bad. It's a somewhat competent dungeon crawler. That's basically the only good thing I've got to say about it, is that it's semi-competent. It's alright. It does the job, I guess. It's just... I get so bored. The combat is... relatively uninspired. The treasure is relatively uninspired. The story isn't anything particularly special. It just doesn't have that much going for it. oh great, it's these guys again. Alright, let's just do a unity attack again this time. Let's not beat around the bush. Well, that didn't work out very well. See, I won. I just need to... Oh. Oh, bloody hell. Okay, I haven't actually seen these before. You know, we will use the mages to their... Quick cast? Quick use. Use 2 stacked items, okay. Well, I will use these guys to their full effect. We'll do that again. Investigate the ship, it's rank B. See, like, there's absolutely no risk in the treasure chests, so it just makes them boring. It's like, why even bother having that whole trap system there if you have a decent party, you don't even have to worry about it. You literally just hammer X, and you can just open any chest. I'm in the wrong person. I was looking for my my girl with my multi-care. Okay. I find the game to be a bit of a bore. That's pretty much all I've got to say about it. It is a bore. No way that works. Yes, the game does have an auto move system, but, what the fuck? Oh, right. Oh, yeah, he was poisoned. Right, I forgot to heal him. And now he's dead. It's alright. I can actually go back and, I can actually go back and get that all fixed up. That's fine. It's absolutely fine. Thankfully, it doesn't cost that much to get, death fixed up in this game. 90 GP. A lot better than, freaking Stranger of Sword City, but even then, Stranger of Sword City, I'll just show some leveling up. We're here. We might as well do the leveling up. Yep, her HP went up 14. If you dual class, the downside to dual classing is that the downside to dual classing is that you have to gain levels on both blood codes, and it spreads your experience evenly, so it makes you level up slower. But yeah, this game is just not interesting. I've played a ton of dungeon crawl. Well, not so much a ton of dungeon crawlers on the Vita, but I've played a fair few dungeon crawlers on the Vita. I forgot to put him back up front. That's not good. Can I do it from here? There we go. Alright. Okay, there is a couple of other things too, like it's got the memo system from Demon Gaze, it's got the... Well, yeah, it's just nothing interesting. That's the problem. I find it really difficult to be interested in this game just because of how dull it is. It doesn't do anything new or exciting. It doesn't do anything that is engaging or interesting. For all of Stranger of Sword City's faults, for all of that game's faults, it is miles upon miles more interesting than this. Miles upon miles. I should be saying kilometers, but still, I find Stranger of Sword City to be infinitely more interesting than this, and it's not even that different. It's just notably quite dull. And yes, it would be more interesting if I wasn't wearing that extra 3 level thing around, but at the same time, it is kind of nice to know that if you walk into a place, you're not going to be absolutely steamrolled by anything that decides to show up. So, even with it turned off. I turned it off for a while because I got bored. It didn't really help out that much. I'll tell you that much. It just... Right, I just have to remember which one of these bloody teleporters actually goes to where I need to be right now. That's not the one I want to go to. I want to come down here, then I want to take... Yeah, I want to fight this, then I want to head down, and then I want to take the teleporters that are around there. I'm bored. 5.5 hours in, and it's been a fairly straight line so far. I mean, it's not been anything too extraordinary, but it's still been really boring. The line just takes you a bloody age to figure out. I find it uninteresting, dull, pretty much any word you can use. Alright, so I was up, then down. Then up, then left. And I go up or down. Up brought me back here. Shit. Okay, out we go. Okay. Up. Down. Up. And left, then down? That's a ton of damage you took there. It's alright. Well, these ones are friendly for some reason. I don't know why some of these are friendly and some of them aren't. I mean, in the previous area, which was where they introduced these, it made some sort of sense because there was story reasons for them to be friendly robots, but now it just makes no sense. I don't even know. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, up just brings me back here, and down probably would have sent it the same way. Alright, so... Up, down, up, up. Up again? Okay, no. Right. Let's try up again. No, that brings me back here. So if I go through here, and I come through this one. Now I go up. That brings me back here, right? So I have to try down once I get back to that room in particular. So up, down, up, to the left, and down. Nope, it's just put me back here. Wonderful, this is a fucking maze. I hate these sorts of mazes. I can never get a good image of them in my head. Great. So I imagine that the teleporter I actually want to be using is somewhere else entirely. So that's great. How about I turn around and spend a little while going around in a different area. Give you something else to look at for just a little bit. I mean, I really don't have anything else to say. I mean, what else can I talk about? I mean, it is just such a basic dungeon crawler. I mean, other than the fact that it's relatively competent at what it does, that's not where I want to be. I want to go to, yeah, the Shrine Road. That's where I want to be. Other than the... Right, I remember hating this place. I know that there's an extra dungeon that you can get to over here, and I believe you get to it by coming through to this area, which I have to do by walking up through here first, and I'll have to get into a couple of low-level fights to do it, but yeah. Graphically, the game is not that impressive. I haven't seen that many good-looking dungeons in it, and of course, Experience are pretty good at 2D art, but again, just the general, everything being not animated just kind of throws me for a loop with this game. It's kind of strange. Right, now I just have to remember where the hell I go to get to the new dungeon. I think I have to come down through here. Could be remembering this wrong though. I'll just head back over this way. But yeah, you can see that there's a bunch of different kinds of dungeons to explore. They all look the bloody same. Yep, this is where I had to go. Alright, so this will take me to a new area I haven't explored yet, and we can just run around there for a while. But we have to fight these things off first, but they're level 12, so it's not like it's going to be that difficult, so I'll just fast action again. There you go. We got 1,000 XP for that. That didn't feel anywhere near worth 1,000 XP. Thankfully, if you're... no matter what you're doing, you will earn the same amount of XP. So even if you're massively lower the levels of everyone involved, you'll still get a decent amount of XP for it. So you can modify your difficulty on the go, which is kind of nice. I'd like to see that sort of thing with Stranger of Sword City. But I mean, in that game, you have to spend thousands upon thousands of gold, which is really hard to get in order to improve, in order to change the difficulty. So, oh, would you look at that? I found the big boss monster right away. This is actually pretty good. Tomato no me. Okay. That was actually really quick. I wasn't expecting that to happen so quickly. If we beat this thing, we get more unity gauge, and that means more special abilities for us. So we might as well fight it. I can use my spells to help out with this. Doesn't really matter what I use my spells or my skills on. Crush, and yeah, you can focus for now. I'm going to want to put up some defense. Yeah, we'll boost his cast, and we'll snipe. And I'll play it out slowly this time so I can pay attention to what's going on. Everybody's taking massive amounts of damage. That's not great. We've already lost one of our guys to the back line, which is not good at all. I should have used my immunity attack while I had my mind set on it. Okay. Alright, everybody's back, so let's do this properly this time. Hit down on Tomato no me. Crush again. 3-stage strike. High care, that works. No, not high care, multi-care. Wait, do I have access to anything better? I have error care, which is the status effect removal, but I want a multi-care. I don't want anybody dying in the middle of this fight. Fire burst, might as well, and snipe. Perform it again. I just lost my mage in one attack because fuck me sideways. We knocked it out. That's a start. Alright, hit down again. Crush again. No, I want to do as much damage as possible, I think. Unfortunately, I can't revive her because I don't have any sort of anything that's revive related, so fast action this time. We won. Everybody who's alive gets XP, so the mage just, the healer just missed out on a bunch of stuff. We get a free treasure chest, which ought to be really easy. There we go. And, yeah, our monster rating has reset, so we're going to come across weaker enemies and nothing will be interesting anymore, more or less. I could have just, like, I could have just retreated from battles to bring it down from level 6 and all that, but that's just not interesting, is it? Attack. Attack, attack. Attack. Snipe. Go. I really should go back and heal up all my guys and get that girl out of her deathbed. But honestly, I don't plan on playing this again after this video. I just find it to be a... It's competent. It does what it does all right, but I find it so dull and uninteresting as to be so boring as to not being able to recommend it either. Which is unfortunate. I mean, this is literally a direct sequel to another game which I thought was worse than Demon Gaze. So, how can I expect it? How can I really expect anything else? Screw it, I'll just use his, Return Gate spell. There's a reason I made this guy, there's a reason I dual-classed this guy in all the spells I could. So yeah, we beat the Wanted variant. We get a money bonus for it. We get a power recorder, which is just an in-dungeon save. And yeah, I don't care. I legitimately don't care about this game. I find it to be not worth the time just because of how dull it is. If you are absolutely desperate for another dungeon crawler from these guys, I wouldn't say no, but at the same time, you have your warning. You're not going to get anything even remotely interesting here. Just some very basic dungeon crawling, nothing out of the ordinary whatsoever. And I wish it was better. I wish there were dungeon crawlers that were more interesting. I wish they broke away from the mold, the formula, the Experience Inc. book of dungeon crawler design. I wish they would break away from that just a little bit. But then again, that might just give us more Ray Gigants, and I'm not particularly a great big fan of Ray Gigant either, and that's not a good thing either. Nicer, can you please localize Demon Gaze 2? Why did you localize this, by the way? I'm guessing it's because this game's coming out on PC at the same time it's coming out on Vita, but why can't Demon Gaze 2 come out on PC as well? I'd like to see Demon Gaze 2. That game actually had some interesting stuff in it. So yeah, that was a look at Operation Babel New Tokyo Legacy. This has been Blue Maxima, and I will see you all next time.